Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Namaste and a very warm welcome to our Weekend with Wisdom series. In this series, we have been discussing and reflecting on a very interesting topic, Stuti, composed by Swami Tejomayananda. And guiding us through these talks, we have with us Brahmachari Ved Chaitanya Ji. Hari Om Ved Ji. Let us begin this session with an invocation. Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So in this series on Stuti, we have been delving into some of the concepts on Ishwara and what is the understanding from Vedanta perspective. Today we are meeting for the third session in the series, and we will be further going deeper into many more concepts in this text. Before I invite Vedji to speak, I would like to give a short introduction about him. The best way to serve a Mahatma is to follow his teachings with utmost sincerity, says Brahmachari Ved Chaitanya Ji, who is presently serving at Chinmaya International Foundation, CIF, SIF. He comes from a Chinmaya family which has always been active in the Chinmaya movement. Being inspired by the Swamins of Chinmaya Mission, such as Pujya Swami Purushottamananda Ji, Swami Siddheshananda Ji and others, he has been a very bright student and a disciplined sevak of Pujya Gurudev. He has completed his graduation in electronics and telecommunication engineering from Pune University and has also worked for a year in Tata Consultancy Services, TCS, before joining the residential Vedanta course in Sandipani Sadhanalaya, Powai in the year 2011. After completion of 2 years of rigorous training under the guidance of Pujya Guruji Swami Tejomayananda Ji and the tutelage of Swami Advayananda Ji and Swami Shraddhananda Ji, he received Sharadhananda Ji, my apologies. He received the Brahmachari Diksha on Ganesh Chaturthi Day in the year 2013 and was posted at Chinmaya Prerana, Navi Mumbai Center. Thereafter, since August 2017, he was posted at SIF and was instrumental in compiling the questionnaire for the home study courses Upanishad course, which was launched in October 2017. He also facilitated the webinar sessions on the Vedanta home study courses. He is one of the main advisors for revamping the home study courses into a complete online format. He has also assisted Swami Advayananda Ji in the Master Gita, Master Life course. Being a versatile orator, he conducts regular study classes for elders, Bal Vihars for children, and workshops for youngsters in English, Hindi, and Marathi. Vedji perfectly depicts young dynamism with pure wisdom. As a person, he is very cheerful and kind-hearted, who is always loved by all, right from small kids to grown-up elders. He's very good at tabla playing and has also got several opportunities to accompany Pujya Guruji. Vedji is also very good in Sanskritam and has come first in India and world in the 2 exams conducted by Cambridge University, United Kingdom. He has completed his post-graduation in ME Sanskritam from Chinmaya Mission and is presently pursuing his PhD. Dear viewers, seekers, I would request all of you to kindly post your questions in the Q&A box, and we shall take them towards the end of the session. With that, I would like to invite Vedji to begin his session. Over to you, Vedji. Thank you.
Hari Om. Thank you. Audible? We'll start. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam. Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam. Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Lokashankaram. Neelambuja Shamala Komalangam Sita Samaropitavama Bhagam Panau Mahasayaka Charu Chapam Namami Ramam Raghuvam Shanatham. Hari Om everyone. In this text Isha Stuti, initially we have seen why we should believe in God and how we can prove existence of that Lord, or how we can strengthen belief in that Lord. So several, we can't say arguments, but several kinds of logic were given on this topic by Pujya Guruji, who is the author of this text. We saw that Guruji started by saying that why there are so many doubts and confusions about this Lord, because he is beyond all imaginations, beyond all thinking. And therefore what happens is, since our mind, our intellect cannot reach, since our senses cannot perceive, we have this notion that something which is beyond this doesn't exist. And that is one reason why God is considered to be not there. One reason. It is beyond imagination. That's the nature of the Lord. You cannot change that, right? Second logic we saw, having said that it is beyond all imaginations, etc., but his glory is so clearly evident in and through everything. For our perception, for our inference, for our intellectualization, for everything, his glory is so evident, and therefore we should not doubt the existence of the Lord. Just because I can't see it, just because I can't imagine it, just because I cannot think about it, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Because all these things may be limitations of my vision, my mind, and my intellect. So beyond all these things, God exists. Second logic. Then third logic, he gave very, very simple example. He said even in the world when something needs to be done, there is a doer who is required. Right? So for anything, various examples were given, I hope you remember. For song and for instrument playing, for dance, for drama, for building a house. Any action which is there, it is always associated with what? With the doer who is performing that action. Now, if this is true, if this is what we see in the world, even for the entire world, we have to say that if the world is going on, there has to be some doer. If world is there at the moment, somebody must have created it. So through this, we understood in yesterday's session that Ishwara, Lord, is the creator, is the cause of the entire world. I hope you remember this. Before that, we also understood the concept of Ishwara as Saguna Nirakara Ishwara. Is associated with qualities such as creation, sustenance, maintenance, love, compassion, etc., but doesn't have any form. And therefore, the same Ishwara comes in many, many forms which we worship as Ishwara alone. This concept also we had seen. Now in this verse, it was clear that that Lord, That entity is the cause of the world. We had seen 3 laws of causation, and we had deduced, we had come to the conclusion that something of the world cannot be the cause of the world. So there has to be something other than world which has created the world. Now, other than world, there are only 2 things, Brahman and Maya. Though I am saying 2 things, Maya is not actually there. So there is actually only Brahman alone is there. But that Brahman alone without Maya cannot create, because other than Brahman nothing exists. Maya without Brahman also cannot create, because Maya is inert and dependent on Brahman. Therefore we say Brahman plus Maya together they create. And this Brahman plus Maya is what we call as Ishwara. So that Ishwara, that Lord, is the creator, is the Karana of the world. Then we went on to see some more logics, where next logic that Guruji gives is what? As a human being, we are so limited, but still we think that we know everything, we are great, and without us work cannot happen. Then how can we think that the whole world could come without the God? Isn't it our, we can say, arrogance, where we think that without me nothing can work, but without God world can be there? This is foolishness. So remember, we had seen in the last session, if a wave starts to say that there is no ocean, it will be funny. Why? Because the wave comes from ocean, exists in ocean, goes back into ocean. Actually, it is ocean only. It's water only. So that wave thinking that there is no ocean, or I am greater than ocean, I alone am there, is foolishness. So as individuals, we should not have all those thoughts. That is next logic which was given. And then the final logic Guruji gave, where he said the best logic that can be given. I agree that there is a dispute about the existence of the Lord, etc., his nature, etc. He said the very fact that there is dispute proves the existence of the Lord. Why? Because something which is not there, there will not be any dispute about it. We saw in the last session that something which is clearly evident, perceivable by all, there is no dispute about it. What is this? This is a watch. There is no dispute about it. This is a watch. Everybody will agree. So something which is clearly evident and something which doesn't exist, for these 2 things there is no dispute. So dispute is there for what? For something which exists but is not readily perceivable or understandable. That is what creates a dispute. So the Lord exists and therefore there is dispute, and is beyond logic. Earlier also we had seen, is beyond our perception, beyond our intellectualization, beyond our imagination, and therefore there is a dispute. But that dispute itself proves that God exists. So up to here, up to verse number 5, we had seen the logic to explain to us, to prove to us that God exists, and to strengthen our belief in him. Now the next point is what? What is the nature of this Lord? You said that he is the creator, he is the cause of the entire world. But generally when we speak of doer, creator, etc., the kinds of creators that we see in the world, God doesn't look like that. Why? Because suppose you say that there is a building which is built, house is built. Who has built it? You can show in flesh, this person. Who has sung this song? This person. Who has sung this? Who has played this instrument? This person. So a doer has got sharira, has got body, is a shariri. So doer of all the things in the world we can show because there is a body. But the Lord doesn't have a body. We said saguna nirakara, there is no form. And because there is no form, it's difficult to understand. For a human being who is a doer of something, we can easily show, okay, this is the person. But for the Lord, because he is a shariri, it's difficult to understand. Number 1. Second thing, a human being who is the doer is abodha and alpa shakti, alpa bala. has got limited knowledge, limited understanding, limited power. Do you mean to say God is also like this? That was the question which was asked. The answer is given what? You are right that Jiva is different from Ishwara. Jivena sadrishaha pareshaha na. Pareshaha jivena sadrishaha na. The Lord is not like Jiva. Means what? Jiva has a sharira, Lord Ishwara doesn't have a sharira. Jiva is Alpa Shakti, Lord is Sarva Shakti. Jiva is Alpadnya, Lord is Sarvadnya. Jiva is Alpa Buddhi, Lord is Sarva Buddhi. Jiva is Alpa Vyapi, Lord is Sarva Vyapi. Jiva is Baddha, Lord is Mukta. So I agree with you what that God, that Lord and Ishwara, Lord and Jiva are not similar or same. Actually speaking, their qualities are opposite to each other. Right? Just as Samartha Asamarthavad Baddhana, a capable person is also a person, and incapable person also a person. So on the level of person, there is the same similarity, but incapable person is bound by his incapability. That bondage is not there for a capable person. In the same way, Jiva has got limitation, has got bondage. That bondage, that limitation is not there for Ishwara. Achintya Shakti Parameshwaro Bhavet. The Supreme Lord is Achintya Shakti, has got unimaginable, unthinkable power. And also, Nachashrita Saha Karana Adi Vastushu, and he is not dependent on anything for his creation, for his job of creation. So when he is trying to create the world, he doesn't need any other material, he doesn't need any other instrument. That is where we stop. Now let us get into this and understand. We saw in the last sessions that there are three types of causes. Mainly two types of causes, but third also is sometimes mentioned. What are they? One is called as the sentient cause, or sometimes called as the Nimitta Karana. Nimitta Karana. Then second is called as Upadana Karana. And third is called as Sahakari Karana. Three causes. Nimitta Karana, Upadana Karana, Sahakari Karana. Nimitta Karana means the sentient, efficient cause. Nimitta Karana. Upadana Karana means material cause. With what material it is made, whatever is made. And third is Sahakari Karana. What are the other instruments which are used? Right? So these are the three types of causes. Let us see, for example, if there is a pot, then for that pot, efficient cause is the potter who is making the pot. Material cause is the clay with which the pot is made. And Sahakari Karana are all the instruments that the potter is using to convert clay into pot. So there is wheel, there is a stick by which he rotates. You must have seen, water is there. All these things are Sahakari Karana. Okay. Mainly two causes, Nimitta and Upadana. Okay. Sahakari also is included, but mainly Nimitta Karana and Upadana Karana. Now this is true for everything. Right. A table is made. Then the table is made by carpenter. So carpenter is the Nimitta Karana, efficient cause. The table is made up of wood. So wood is what? Material cause, Upadana Karana. Okay, and whatever instruments he has used for that, that all will become Sahakari Karana, instrumental cause. Now, for the world, careful, for the world, the cause has to be efficient and material, correct? So there has to be an efficient cause to create the world and material cause by which the world is created. And Sahakari Karana, if required, we will see. Right? This has to be there. Now let us understand this. We said that efficient cause has to be sentient entity. If mud is kept, automatically the mud will not convert into pot unless there is a sentient efficient cause which is potter. Right. Now Questions are, is God material cause or also efficient cause or neither? Is he both? Is he one of them or is he neither? Does he use any Sahakari Karana instrument or he doesn't require it? That is what we have to now think. Earlier also we said that world is created from something other than world. Other than world, there exist two things, Brahman and Maya. Brahman is sentient entity, consciousness entity, and Maya is inert entity. So, for the world, number one, the efficient cause, Nimitta Karana, is Brahman. Carefully note. It is the sentience because of which the world is created. See, that doesn't mean Brahman has become doer, okay? Please. I'll come back to this point little later, but please note that he is the efficient cause, doesn't mean he has done actually anything. And second, he is Maya, the second entity is what? The second entity is the material cause. So the entire world is made up of Maya as material. Maya is the material, and that's why the nature of the world is same as nature of Maya. Take a minute to think about this. Pot is made up of mud. The quality and property of the mud is there in the quality and property of the pot. Intelligence of the potter added to it, correct, agreed, but the quality of the pot will depend on the quality of mud. How good will be the table depends on how good was the wood added with it, the of the creator, of the efficient cause. Now the world has to have same nature as Maya, and that is what we see. Maya has sattva rajas tamas, entire world also has sattva rajas tamas. Maya is illusory, the world is also illusory. So Maya is the material cause for the world, and Brahman is the efficient cause. Now, when we say Maya is material cause and Brahman is efficient cause, what did we say is Ishwara? Ishwara we said is Brahman plus Maya. So Ishwara is at the same time efficient cause also and material cause also. I hope this point is clear. Why? Because Ishwara is Brahman plus Maya. Brahman is efficient cause, Maya is material cause. So Ishwara is what? Abhinna nimitta upadana karana. Abhinna, non-different. There are no two entities, there is only one Ishwara, and that is at the same time Abhinna, Nimitta also and Upadana also. It is also an efficient cause and it is also a material cause. Now this is something which is little difficult to understand. What did we say? That Ishwara himself is the efficient cause and material cause also. Which will mean what? Ishwara has created the world from himself. The material is also Ishwara. Who has created is also Ishwara. And what is the Sahakari Karana? There is no Sahakari Karana required. Nothing else is required. Why? Because Ishwara is Sarva Shakti, Achintya Shakti, Nachashrita Sahakarnadi Vastushu. He is not dependent on any instrument etc. for his creation, and therefore he is at the same time efficient cause and material cause, and he doesn't require any instrumental cause. Now, this is again something which is difficult to understand. See, whenever anything is created, there is a creator, material is different from the creator, generally we see in the world, and also there has to be a shop or somewhere, the building where these products are created. But God is not having any raw material. We say that God himself is raw material also and the creator also, and he doesn't have any lab or anything also. any company where he is manufacturing and sending. So no instruments are required for his aid, for his assistance. Material, cause and efficient, both are himself. How to understand this? In Upanishads, one example is given to understand this. In Mundaka Upanishad it says, Yathorna nabhihi srijate grihnate cha. Yatha urna nabhihi. Urna nabhi is a spider. So example given is a spider. What is said? Spider creates web. Okay. Now that spider himself is the efficient cause for creation of the web. And the material is used is what? Is he taking that that thread from somewhere and making? No, no, no. The thread is also coming from himself. Okay. So spider himself, from himself, creates the web and doesn't require anything else for his assistance. In the same way, God creates the world from himself. All by himself creates, means what? He becomes the world. Now one problem. What? Actually two problems. In the example, there is a limitation that when the spider creates the web, spider undergoes some kind of modification, some kind of change. Does God also undergo any kind of change while creating the world? Question number one. So when God is creating world from himself, is he changing? See, example is milk becomes curd. Now, milk has modified to become curd, isn't it? So if you say God has modified to become the world, then number one, he will be modifying. Number two, he will not exist. Once the milk has become curd, is milk there? No. Milk as milk is not there. Milk as curd only is there. So if God has become the world, then God is not there. Why? He has become the world. These two problems will be there. So to resolve this, our Vedanta explains to us that no, Lord does not undergo any kind of modification while creation. No modification happens. And also, when it is said that he becomes the world, but he also remains himself and becomes the world. That is the point which is explained in the next verse. Let us read the verse and then let us see some more points related to it. Verse number 8. Swasyaiva shaktya bhutveha karanam dravyam tatha nama rupam cha vishvam karta cha dhata cha samhara karta sthitas svatasvena rupena shuddha swasyaiva shaktya bhutveha karanam dravyam tatha nama rupam cha vishvam karta cha dhata cha samhara karta sthitas svatasvena rupena shuddha. See what the verse is saying. Swasya eva shaktya, by his own power. This word is very important here. His own power means what? Which is integral part of God. Maya is not something different from God. Ishwara is Brahman plus Maya. So Maya is very much integral part of this Ishwara. Swasya eva shaktya iha. Here in this world, sorry. Here in this world, in the creation of the world, in this context, Swasya eva shaktya, by his own power, karanam, dravyam, tatha, nama rupam vishwam bhutva. Sorry. Bhutva, himself becoming. What has he become? Karanam. Karanam means instrument. Dravyam. Dravyam means material. And also, Nama Rupam Vishwam, the world which is full of names and forms. So the Lord himself, by his own power, has become the instrument, has become the material and has also become the effect, the world. By his own power, he has become everything. By his own power, he has become everything. And therefore, what is he now? Karta, Dhata, Samhara Karta. For the world, he is the Karta, creator, Dhata, sustainer, maintainer, and Samhara Karta, destroyer. See, very, very important point. What is the nature of the Lord? That is what we are discussing. So one of the main important quality, one of the main things that we have to discuss is God is Jagatah Sthiti Sarga Sthiti Laya Karanam. Jagatah Sarga Sthiti Laya Karanam. Jagatah of the world, Sarga creation, Sthiti maintenance, Laya dissolution, Karanam cause. So God is the cause of creation of the world, sustenance of the world, and dissolution of the world. So he is the creator, sustainer, and dissolver. Sometimes it is also beautifully said God, G-O-D. So G, generator, creator. O, organizer, maintainer. And D, destroyer, dissolver. So God is what? One who creates the world, sustains the world, and dissolves the world. But how? How does he do that? By his own power, he becomes the instrument, he becomes the material, and he also becomes the world. That is how he creates, sustains, and dissolves. But Sthita Swataha Svena Rupena Shuddha. All throughout this, he is Sthita. He is seated. He is seated means what? Nothing is happening in him. Swataha Sthita. He is there all by himself. Svena Rupena. By his own nature, Shuddha, pure, remains unchanged, untainted. Without any kind of impurity, he remains. See, in this one verse, Guruji has explained everything that we need to know about the Lord. That the Lord is the creator, maintainer, and dissolver of the world. And how does he do that? By his own power, he becomes the instrument, he becomes the material, and he also becomes the effect of the world. And all throughout this, he remains as his own nature, pure. What is that? His nature is Brahman. He ever remains Brahman. You see, now this thought, this concept is explained through many stories. If you have listened to Bhagavatam, if you have studied Bhagavatam, etc., even if not, I am sure you have listened to all these stories. I'm going to talk about two main stories. One story is in the Leela of Shri Krishna Leela, it comes. And the story is that when Bhagavan Shri Krishna was in Vrindavan as a son of Nanda and Yashoda, and he used to take all the calves for grazing along with his friends. So one day what happened, when they were there and they were enjoying on the seashore, on the Yamuna Tira, etc., they were enjoying. At that time, Brahmaji thought that, who is this Krishna? Why there is so much? I am the creator. How can people forget me? So it is said what he did was, he just took all the gopas, all Shri Krishna's friends and calves and everything, and kept them in one cave, put them to sleep. And Bhagavata says very beautifully that within a second, Brahmaji's second, he just looked at the earth. So Brahmaji's 1 second is several months. Several months for earth. And he said when he looked at Vrindavan, he saw that all the gopas, all the calves, everything is already in Vrindavan. Now he got confused that he looks at the cave, gopas and calves are sleeping. He looks down, everybody is there. He went closer to see what is happening, and what he saw completely stunned him. He saw that Krishna himself had become everything. All the gopas was Krishna only. Bhagavata explains so beautifully that not just the gopas, but the clothes that gopas were wearing, that was also Krishna. The stick which they used to keep to graze the calves, etc., that stick was also Krishna. And calves were also Krishna. Everything, Krishna himself had become everything and living in all the different houses. And it is said that during that time, when Krishna himself became everything, suddenly the mothers and the cows, so mothers of gopas and the mothers of the calves, they started to love their children so much more than what they used to. Why? Because God himself had become everything and doing everything. Brahmaji, when he saw all these things, he just understood his mistake, went and fell at the feet of Bhagavan Krishna. Now, again, understand the concept here. Sri Krishna is explained as Ishwara here, and therefore he is higher than Brahmaji. Let us not get confused. Brahmaji, we say, is a creator, agreed, but is also a form which is created by Ishwara only. Right? So, the story explains that Bhagavan himself, Ishwara himself, becomes everything on his own, at the same time remaining apart from it, remaining pure. I hope now the concept is clarified. Now, there's one more story in Bhagavatam, which is again well-known story. The story of Amrita Manthana. The Devatas and Asuras churned the milky ocean to get Amrita, to get nectar. Now, if we really see the story, it is elaborately explained in Bhagavata, but if we see really, it is all Bhagavan only. Vishnu Bhagavan only, everything. He only gave them idea to do this Amrita Matana. He only gave them idea that you should get Mandar Parvata there, and then Vasuki should become the rope, and all the ideas he only gave. Then when the Asuras and Devatas actually started churning, that Mandar Parvata started going down. So Bhagavan Vishnu only became Kurma, became the tortoise, and went at the bottom of that mountain to support. When he supported from the top, the mountain started going up. So he sent his own Vahana, Vishnu's Vahana, that is Garuda, to sit on top of the mountain, so that mountain will remain at the same place and the churning will happen. It is said that even after some time, Devatas and Asuras were so tired. So Bhagavan Vishnu only took two forms, went on both sides, and I was churning. Everything for whom? For all of them only, Devatas and Asuras. So he was everything in the whole story. And everything was done by him only. Now, this is what we need to understand. For the creation of the entire world also, it is God only. He himself, by his own power, becomes the instrument, becomes the material, and also becomes the entire world. Not only that, throughout this process, he remains untouched. He remains Brahman. Now, little bit about this we need to think. So, we said that Bhagavan is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam. He himself is the efficient cause also and material cause also, and doesn't require any Sahakari Karana, doesn't require any other instrument. Why? Because he himself has become material, instrument, and world also. Point number one. Second thing, when it is said that the creation takes place from himself but there is no change, we need to understand that this kind of creation is unreal creation. Example of pot, potter, clay is not applicable here. Why? Because pot and potter are at the same level of reality. Those who have studied Vedanta, they will understand this immediately. Those who have not, please pay little more attention. The pot and the potter are at the same level of reality. Pot is also vyavaharika satta, transactional reality, which we can perceive, which we can transact with. Potter is also on the same level of reality. Better example for this is, let us go back to our usual example of rope and snake. There is a rope and we see it as snake. Now, let us understand for that snake, what is the efficient cause and what is the material cause. Carefully note. Material cause is what? Material cause is the one which has become the effect. And efficient cause is what? Efficient cause is that which has converted material to become the effect. Okay. So, in the example of rope and snake, efficient cause of the snake is rope. Careful. Efficient cause of the snake is rope. And my delusion, in my mind, I am misunderstanding. No, that misunderstanding is the material cause of the snake. Efficient cause is the rope, the substratum, and my delusion is the material cause. Now, this is an example, okay? In actual case of world, what is happening? That efficient cause and material cause are one and the same. Here it is at different places. Okay, so example of course has got limitations because nothing can explain the creation of the world, right? So that is that limitation will be there, but this clarifies one more important point, and that is when rope, efficient cause, so to say, has created snake because of my delusion, the rope has undergone no change. Even when I am considering it to be a snake, and even when later on when I understand that it is not a snake, it is a rope, the rope remains same. Rope has not changed. So Ishwara is that kind of cause. Now here, why the rope has not changed? Because the efficient cause and the effect are at different levels of reality. Pot and potter are at the same level of reality, and therefore the creation is real. But here, efficient cause rope is a vyavaharika satta, transactional reality, and snake is pratibhasika satta, lower level of reality. It is an imaginary apparent reality, and therefore the effect, the creation is not real, and therefore the creator remains unchanged. Is this clear? So about the Lord, we have seen number one, he is the Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana. Now I am going to use Sanskrit terms. I am sure you are getting it. At the same time, he is both efficient and material cause. Number two, he doesn't require Sahakari Karana. He doesn't need any instrumental cause. Number three is Swatantra, independent. That is what it means by saying that he doesn't require anything. Means what? He himself becomes everything. And becomes everything means not really. He himself appears to have become everything. Now that is where the Advaita Vedantic touch comes. Has God created the world? We say as though yes. Even as though he has created the world. Is Lord sustaining the world? As though yes. Is he going to destroy the world? Yes, as though yes. Why as though? Because the creation is not real. Not as real as God. Why? Because creation is at vyavaharika level, God is paramarthika level, absolute reality. So as long as you are seeing the snake, rope is its substratum. But the moment you stop seeing snake, rope cannot be even called as substratum. Substratum of what? Of snake, but the snake is not there. So as long as you see the world, God is the cause of the world. But the moment we understand that the world is not there, the world is not real, God can no more be called as creator. God is just Brahman. Just the substratum. You cannot even call it as substratum, just the reality. One truth. And that one truth reality has not changed its nature even when there is so-called creation. Rope remains rope even when you see it as snake. In the same way, God remains Brahman even when we see the world on top of it. Is this clear? Now, so Bhagavan is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana, Ishwara is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karana, doesn't require any Sahakari Karana, is Swatantra. Sometimes you will also hear in Shastra Charcha that he is Vivarta Karana. This is what the concept that we just saw is what is called as Vivarta Karana, where the cause is at the different level of reality than the effect, and therefore the creation is not real. That is why sometimes we will also hear the term Vivarta. Sometimes they will say Brahman is a Vivarta Karana. He has not actually become Ishwara, or he has not actually created anything. That's also fine. There's the same point that we need to understand. But he is, as long as you are seeing the world, God is the cause of creation, sustenance and dissolution of the world. Now again, all this is also coming from Vedas only. We see that Brahmaji, one form is given as a creator, Brahma. For maintainer, one more form is given, Vishnu. And for dissolver, one more form is given as Shiva. Right? And we see that Ishwara, we speak of Ishwara only in Vedas, who has created, who is maintaining, and who will dissolve or destroy the world. And we see there are so many Shrutis, so many mantras, even in Bhagavad Gita, etc., which testifies all these things. Jagataha sargasthiti laya karanam Ishwara. So that Ishwara in Upanishad, it will be mentioned that everything has come from that Ishwara alone. Etasmat jayate pranaha manas sarvendriyani cha kham vayur jyotirapah prithvi vishwasya dharini. Mundakopanishad. It explains that also. Tasmad va etasmat atmanaha akasha sambhuta, etc. Ishwara is explained in Taittiriya Upanishad also. So everything comes from him is explained. Everything is sustained by him, that is also explained. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says that I am the one who carries everything. Yogakshemam vahamyam. I am the one who is carrying the entire world. Right? And destruction also is explained. Right? Everything else goes back. Yatova imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat prayanti abhisamvishanti iti tad vijidnyasasva tad brahma iti. So Taittiriya Upanishad also says that from which everything has come, that in which everything is remaining, sustaining, and that into which everything will go back. Understand that to be Brahman, understand that to be Ishwara. Right? Now this, when it is said that Bhagavan Ishwara himself is the cause of creation, sustenance and dissolution, some more facets, qualities of the Lord come to our forefront. For creation, he has done penance. That's what will be shown. That Brahmaji also, when he wanted to create, he didn't know how to create. Then suddenly he heard two letters, tap, tapa, tapa, tapa. Tapa means do penance. Through penance he understood. So knowledge also became a quality of that Ishwara. For sustenance, compassion is required and patience is required. That again are the qualities of Ishwara. And for destruction, detachment is required, power is required. So all these are qualities of Ishwara. So when we are meditating on this Ishwara, these qualities will come to us. Penance, knowledge, compassion, patience, detachment and power. So meditate on Ishwara in this way and all these things will come to us. So Ishwara is the cause of creation, sustenance and dissolution of the world. He creates everything on his own from himself by becoming the instrument, material and the world. Now the question is, Vedji, you earlier gave example of pot which is made up of clay by the potter to explain to us nimitta karana, upadana karana, sahakari karana. Then you change the example to rope and snake, where rope is the efficient cause and delusion is the material cause and the snake is created. To explain to us that rope has undergone no change even when there is a creation of snake, so-called creation of snake. But that example also had limitation, isn't it? So is there any example where God creates everything but remains without anything? That is what is explained now in the next two verses. First, Guruji takes up a topic that some people may doubt. How can God himself create everything? So the power of the Lord is what is spoken of in verse number 9, and then how can he remain unaffected and create everything? That is explained in verse number 10 with the example of dream. Brilliant example, most perfect example. Let us see one by one. First we will see verse number 9. Let us see what Pujya Guruji says. Together, verse number 9. Idam katham shakyamiti pruchyate achintya shakter hi parameshwarasya vaidnyanikanam api yantra siddhayah kim tarhyashakyam hi prabho sarvashakte. Idam katham shakyamiti pruchyate achintya shakter hi parameshwarasya vaidnyanikanam api yantra siddhayah kim tarhyashakyam hi prabho sarvashakte. What is he saying? Idam katham shakyam. How is this possible? Iti iha pruchyate. If you were to ask me this question, how is this possible? How can God himself create everything by his own, on his own, without using anything? How? The answer is what? Parameshwarasya achintya shakti. It is because the power of the Lord is unimaginable. With that unimaginable, unthinkable, unparalleled power of the Lord, what is there which is impossible for him? You take example of the world. He says, Vaidnyanikanam api yantra siddhaya. Vaidnyanikas, the scientists, etc., yantra siddhaya, they have so many inventions, so many siddhis, achievements, etc., which we see for a scientist, for a human being who has got little power. Then, for the Lord who has got unparalleled power, uncomparable power, kim tarhi ashakyam. What is there which is impossible for that Lord? Prabhoho sarvashaktehe, for the Lord who is all powerful. We said no, Lord is sarvadnya, sarvashakti, sarvavyapi, swatantra. For such a Lord, what is not possible? Everything is possible for him. Children, no, in Balvihar, in Chinmaya Mission's Balvihar, they sing one very beautiful song, which I always like and which I quote in many talks. It's a bhajan in English, which is taught to children, and they sing very nicely. That the line is, my God is so great, so strong and so mighty, there is nothing my God cannot do. Very catchy song is there. My God is so great, so strong and so mighty, there is nothing my God cannot do. See, this is what children are also understanding, that my God is so great, so strong, so mighty, that there is nothing that he cannot do. If we with our limited things have created so many wonderful things in the world, see where the world has gone today. So much of progress has happened, so many inventions, so many new things. If with our limited power we can create all these things, what to tell about that God who has unlimited power, right? In this, we also need to understand one thing. You see, we make impossible things possible by our creativity, our power, and our perseverance, our resilience. Isn't it? Because of that, we can make impossible also possible. But God is actually all powerful, and therefore there is nothing which is impossible for that Lord. Also, one important point is whatever we create is based on the creation of the Lord. There is nothing that we can create without the help of the Lord. See, we may in our vanity say that I can do anything. Human beings can do anything. But we need to understand, based on God's creation only we create anything. Okay, human being has created laptop, agreed. Computer, agreed. Aeroplane, agreed. But all that creation is based on God's creation of 5 elements, isn't it? Without those basic raw material, can anything be created? So we should not be under this false ego that we can do anything. We can do anything only with the grace of the Lord. Only by His support, His power, we can do anything. On our own, we are not capable of this. We need to have this kind of faith in God. 2 points are very important in this. Number 1, our faith in the Lord should be so strong that no problem should appear as a problem for us. Guruji says one very nice quote. He says, don't tell God how big your problem is. Tell the problem how big your God is. Don't keep on complaining to God, hey, this is there, that is there, I don't have money and I want to do this. Don't tell God your problems. Tell the problems how strong your God is who is with you. How can you be scared? And also, second point, we need to remember that whatever we are achieving, whatever we are doing is only by the strength of God that is flowing through me. I love one story from Ramayana. Today is a story day. In Ramayana, when Bhagavan Sri Rama along with all the monkeys crossed the ocean with the Setu and reached there, Sri Rama sent Angada as a messenger to Ravana. We know the story. Angada is Wali's son. A young 18-year-old boy among all these senior people was sent as a messenger to Ravana. Why? The last chance should be given to Ravana, because according to the law, before the war, all possible things should be done to avoid the war. So as a final thing, Sri Rama sent Angada to Ravana, saying that even now you tell Ravana, even now if he gives Sita Ji back, Sri Rama will not fight, will take Sita Ji and go. So Angada went there. A very, very interesting story. When Angada was walking towards Ravana's palace, only all the people were already running away. Small boy. Why? Because all monkeys look similar, no? So they said last time one monkey came and he destroyed our Lanka, he burnt our entire Lanka. Now another monkey is coming. We don't know what is going to happen. They were all already scared. He went into the palace, he stood in front of Ravana and gave the message loud and clear. Even now, you give back Sita Ji, you stop your, this kind of hut that you want to marry Sita Ji, you give up Sita Ji back to Sri Rama. Sri Rama will forgive you and will go back. Ravana started laughing. If one monkey has come as a messenger of a human being, to what? To scare me. I am Ravana. Indra is scared of me. He is running everywhere, leaving his Swarga by my fear. And a human being sending a monkey, and you think I will get scared? Angada became serious and he said, do you know who I am? I am son of Wali. You remember Wali? There is a backstory to it also. It is said that Ravana was dead scared of Wali, because it is said that once Ravana tried to do some mischief with Wali when Wali was giving tarpana, etc. And Wali became so angry or irritated with this Ravana, he tied Ravana to his tail and took him to all 7 oceans in the world. He flew and then he used to dip this Ravana into the ocean, and he used to and then he used to pull him back and then go to the next. There's some backstories there in one Ramayana. So he said, I am son of that Wali, okay? I may be small, but don't you doubt the power of monkeys when they are with Sri Rama. And then in front of everyone, he gave a challenge. He said, you think that human beings and along with Sri Rama cannot do anything? He kept his foot on the ground and he said, you think that you all are very powerful Rakshasas, no? You send your Rakshasas to me. If anyone can move my foot even an inch, you keep you keep Sita ji, Sri Rama will go back. Now, for the sake of imagination, okay, just think, if by mistake somebody would have moved that foot, what would have happened? The entire Ramayana story would have been changed. But the moment Angada said this, Angada closed his eyes, remembered Sri Rama and said, Bhagavan, I know my power is very limited. With my power, I cannot do this. These Rakshasas are powerful, I agree. But your power is infinite. And if you want your Sita ji, please take care of my foot. Now the onus is on whom? Onus is on Bhagavan. I am your messenger. I have to teach these people that they should not disrespect your power. They should not consider you just a human being. I have to teach them this. Now take care of my foot. And his foot was taken care of. But if Angada would have thought that it is because of me, he would have gone in arrogance and attacked Ravana. But he knew that this is because of power of Sri Rama. Where Bhagavan's name alone created the entire setu, entire bridge on the ocean. We create small ceilings and we are so proud of ourselves. You imagine a ceiling which is so long, which is what we say, which is joining two nations, and very interestingly, without anything under it, without anything over it, just by the power of Lord. Never ever doubt the power of Bhagavan. If his name itself can create so much of wonder, you imagine what Bhagavan can do. So to say that I believe in God and still being afraid, being worried, is actually not believing in God. Why? Because if you really believe in God, you cannot be afraid of anything. You cannot be worried about anything. Why? Because God is our all-powerful. He can do anything. There is nothing that he cannot do. And therefore, the entire world, how did he create? Oh, why? Why can he not create? He has got all the power. He can do anything. That is what is explained here. And you see, the greatest power is to keep that power hidden. It's also important point, interesting point about Ishwara. See, we have little talent, little power here and there, and we keep flexing. We keep telling everybody, you know, I can sing, and you see power, you see, little bit of muscles here and there come, and immediately we start posing and taking pictures and sending that, you see, I am powerful, I can lift this. The greatest power is to keep that power hidden. And that power Ishwara has got. Ishwara is all powerful, but when that Ishwara appears as Sri Rama, he behaves like a human being, and that behaves in such a way that people have doubt whether he was a human being or God. We imagine what kind of power is there, that he concealed all his powers and acted as though he is a common man, he is a simple human being. That is the real power. Bhagavan is all powerful, and that is what he has. Right? Now this Lord, when he creates everything on his own, by becoming the instrument, by becoming the material, and by becoming the world, this is something which we have never heard before, never seen before. Can you give one example which can explain this? Guruji says yes. And the example is that of dream. Let us see next verse number 10. स्वप्नेऽपि दृष्टो मनसः प्रभावः भोक्त्रादिविश्वं मन एव सर्वम् एवं च तस्या प्रतिमप्रभावः आश्चर्यमाश्चर्यमयो हि देवः स्वप्नेऽपि दृष्टो मनसः प्रभावः भोक्त्रादिविश्वं मन एव सर्वम् एवं च तस्या प्रतिम प्रभावः आश्चर्यमाश्चर्यमयो हि देवः. Beautiful. What is he saying? Swapne api drashtah. You take the example of dream. In the dream also all these things are seen. How? Manasah prabhavah drashtah. You see the power of mind. In dream, what happens? Bhoktradi Vishwam Mana Eva Sarvam. The mind alone creates the entire world, including the Bhoktra, including the enjoyer, the dreamer is created by mind alone. See, how is dream created? We are awake, we experience so many things, we gather those experiences, some of those experiences create impressions. Now, when we go to sleep, mind takes these impressions and creates the entire world. Isn't it? Our dreams sometimes are so complex, so real, that even after getting up, we feel that we are still in that dream. And in the dream world, you see every single thing that you see in the dream, everything is created by mind. You may be dreaming that there is a mountain and river is there and trees are there and jungle is there and you have your friends with you. All that is created by mind alone. Not only that, you who is there in the dream as part of the dream, who is experiencing the dream, is also created by mind. So mind alone creates everything on its own, without taking help of anything. You see, we don't do like this. No, take little water and keep it with me when I am sleeping. Why? Because in the dream, if I become thirsty, I will need this water. In the dream, when you are thirsty, the dream water will be created by your own mind. You don't need to carry anything from the waking world. You cannot also, but you don't need also. Without any assistance, mind creates the entire world. In the same way, without any assistance, Ishwara creates this entire waking world. Sometimes in Vedanta, as a step to understand the world, it is said that the world that we see is a dream of Ishwara. Might have heard this explanation. Ishwara, so my dream is my dream. But my waking is what? Ishwara's dream. Ishwara's dream means what? Don't think that just like we don't have any control over our dream, Ishwara has no control over his dream. Not that kind. But it is a complete illusory, imaginary world created by Ishwara. That is what is our waking. Okay. one more point we will see. See, in the dream, mind creates everything but only identifies with one body and considers the entire dream world different from that body. Example, when I am seeing in my dream, when I am experiencing the mountains, the dream mountains and the dream river and the dream path and the dream jungle and dream friends, actually all that I am experiencing is me alone, but I don't experience it as me. Why that happens? Because after creating everything, including the dreamer, my mind identifies with the dreamer and experiences the world. In the same way, Ishwara, having created the entire world, including the Jiva, identifies with the Jiva and considers the entire world to be different from that Jiva. As long as Jiva considers oneself to be different from the world, different from the Ishwara, we will remain in this dream called samsara. In Vedanta, there are these three topics which are very important: Jiva, Jagat and Ishwara. Advaita Vedanta says they three are not three, they are one, and that is Brahman. An illusory world is created, right? And having created it, including the dreamer who is dreaming, everything is created by that Ishvara. And having created it, has identified with one body, one upadhi, one jiva, and therefore that jiva considers the world to be different from him, Ishvara to be different from him. In ignorance, this is what has happened. When we wake up from our dream, we realize that the entire dream world was not real. In the same way, when we will wake up from this ajnana nidra, from this sleep of ignorance, we will realize that even this world was not real. Is this point clear? That is why dream is one of the most perfect examples in Vedanta. Okay, is this okay? Sufficient for this session. Now 3 more verses are there which we will be seeing in the next session, but we stop for now. We can take the questions. This verse is not completed. I have just explained the first line. Okay, second line we will see in the next session.
Thank you. Thank you, Vedji. It was very interesting to note how the every session it beautifully progresses. To give a complete picture how the composition has been made to slowly and gradually build up on the whole concept is very, very interesting to note.
Yes.
And thank you today with the stories. It was very relatable. From Bhagavatam, from Ramayana. So the first question from our seeker was addressed yesterday. I will repeat it anyways. Please guide more on that. Everything happens by God, and our thoughts are also responsible for all that we face in life. Both are same. Please explain how. Thank you.
So generally we said in the last session also that everything that is happening with me is result of my own actions, and everything that will happen is result of my own present actions and past actions together. Now the question actually is, we often hear this sentence that everything happens by God, because of God. Now, does it happen because of God or does it happen because of my actions? So it happens because of my action by the grace of God. God is also karma phaladata. Ishwara, another quality, another facet is he is karma phaladata. He is the giver of results of our actions. Right? So it has happened because of our actions only, but also there is a grace of God which is involved with it. A simple example that we always give is, suppose you throw a ball in the air and you forget that you have thrown ball in the air. So after some time the ball comes and hits your head. Now who is responsible for that? You only. Your own past action of throwing the ball up has resulted in this situation. But please remember that in that process, gravitational law is important. The ball has gone up and come down. Why? Because God has put that law. In the same way, we are doing karma, we are getting karma phala. We are doing actions, we are getting result of action. But we are getting it because of the law that is put by God. And therefore, when it is said that everything happens according to God's wish, that is also right only. It's not wrong, but it's just a different way of looking at the whole thing. Prarabdha, Purushartha, Ishwara Kripa. Just different ways of looking at the same thing. Hope that clarifies.
Yes. Next question. Can mind be compared with Maya?
Yes. Yes, mind in the dream which creates everything, Maya is what creates everything. But remember that mind without the sentient entity of Brahman, of Atman, cannot create the dream. In the same way, Maya without Brahman cannot create the world. And that Brahman plus Maya only is called as Ishwara. No? So Maya is integral part of Ishwara. And therefore we say Ishwara creates everything, just like mind creates the dream. But yes, mind can be compared with Maya. Yes.
Right. Thank you, Vedji. And one question was also how, now today we dealt with how the cause for the material world, that is Ishwara itself, becomes the effect. Now, what has happened today is there is a very strong distinction between a spiritual life and a material life, and looking at things separately. That for material life I do this, and for a spiritual life it's different. But I feel somewhere the whole idea or concepts whatever we have discussed today is telling us otherwise, that there is no actually distinction, but all of it is actually spiritual life. Is this understanding right, or
Yeah, this understanding is right. And if we actually see in our Indian culture, we never separated secular knowledge and spiritual knowledge. We never separated it. That's why we don't have that concept only. When the Western concept in education etc. appeared, that this is spiritual and this is non-spiritual, we didn't worldly, we didn't understand that concept, because we have never separated anything. Everything for us is spiritual, because finally it is me who is understanding and experiencing everything. So everything is very much spiritual. See, we may nowadays we are slowly coming to this. We teach mathematics to somebody, physics to somebody, psychology to somebody, but finally when we are taking interviews of people to give job, what we see is not just their knowledge, but also what kind of people they are, isn't it? And therefore there is not just technical interview, but there is personal interview also. Why? Because we understand that the knowledge itself, worldly knowledge itself, without the spiritual touch to it, without how the person is, has no value. I may have lot of knowledge, but if I am not following it, then it becomes a difficult thing.
Wonderful. Thank you, Vedji. So, are both good actions
good and bad actions are created?
Yeah.
Yeah, both are created by us only. Actually, while creating, we are not thinking about whether we are creating good action or bad action. We are just doing it. Now that is classified as good or bad and results in punya or papa, which comes in our life as sukha and dukkha. So yes, both are done by us only.
Right. Veji, one So in today, some of the concepts which we have discussed has addressed some questions for me on Brahman, Maya. But still, there is a very technical question for me. Is that I have heard that Maya has no beginning but has an end. Now, how does Maya come from Brahman, and are they two different entities? You mentioned how it's the same, but could you shed some more light on that aspect?
Right. So first thing we need to understand is, when we say beginning, end, etc., these are concepts in time.
Right.
Maya is what creates time, and therefore Maya is before time, and therefore Maya is said to have no beginning.
Okay.
Actually, in Vedanta, we speak of 6 things which are beginningless. In Panchadashi, there is a verse, Jiva Isho Vishuddhachit Tatha Jiveshayor Bhida Avidya Tachitor Yogaha Shadasmakam Anadaya. In Vedanta, we have 6 things which are anadi, which are beginningless. What are they? Number 1, Jiva. Jiva is also anadi. And therefore, all the questions, what was my first thought? What was my first vasana? How did I? All that is those questions do not come in the correct category, because it is before time. So you cannot have first. Jivaha, Ishaha, Lord, is also beginningless. Ishwara. Vishuddha Chit, pure consciousness. Brahman is also beginningless. Tatha Jiveshayor Bhida. So too the difference between Jiva and Ishwara, which is created in the mind of Ishwara. Created in the mind of Jiva. That difference is also anadi. So it is not that there was a point of time when Jiva considered himself to be Ishwara and then later on. No. That is also beginning. Avidya, Maya, what you call as avidya or Maya, the ignorance. Tat chitor yogaha, and connection of this avidya with Vishuddha Chit. Okay, that is sometimes called as time also. Let us not go into too much detail, but these are the 6 things which are beginningless. But among these 6 things, 5 things are before time and therefore beginningless. Only one thing, which is Vishuddha Chit, pure consciousness, Brahman, is beyond time. Before time, 5 things. Beyond time, 1 thing. And because that Brahman is beyond time, it is also endless. Whereas all the remaining 5 which have no beginning will end. No beginning means no beginning in time. Why? Because they are before time, will have end.
Right.
So there is no time when Maya was created or Maya came about. Okay? From Brahman. No. It was there. Also, if we can point out the exact time when Maya was created, Maya will become real. So the answer is, when was Maya created? The answer is, it was never created. When did the snake appear in rope? It is not there. That's the answer. If you can point out the time when rope became snake, then the snake will become real. All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Vedji. God as karma phala data means God is separate from us, but Jiva and Ishwara are same as explained in scriptures. Please explain.
Why God as karma phala data has to be different from us? He is part of us, or he is us, giving us karma phala. Why should we say that he is different from us? That is not required. So you see, and when God and Jiva, the Ishwara and Jiva are said to be one, on what level, that we need to understand. Jiva Ishwara Aikya is on the level of their real nature of Brahman. Just now we saw in this session that Jiva and Ishwara are actually having opposite qualities. Jiva is Alpadnya, Alpashakti, Alpavyapi. Ishwara is Sarvadnya, Sarvashakti, Sarvavyapi. So on that level there is no oneness. The oneness is on the level of Brahman, which is both their nature. But as Karma Phaladata, you have to understand that it is different only. Even though it can be part of us and give Karma Phala also, that also is not impossible.
Thank you. Thank you, Vedji. Is Maya made of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas or the 5 elements?
Maya is made up of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas. Maya creates 5 elements. 5 elements are the effects of Maya, the first effects of Maya. Is made up of Sattva, Rajas, Tamas.
So, can we say Ishwara is both Karta and Akarta?
Yes. We can say Ishwara is both Karta and Akarta, but from different standpoints. If you give reality to the world, then Ishwara is Karta. If you understand that there is no world, Brahman alone is, then Ishwara is Akarta.
Right. These are the questions for now, Vedji.
One more is there. Sometimes we do wrong, but later realize and ask for forgiveness. What will happen here, whether good karma phala we get or vice versa? You see, if we do good, we will get result of that good karma. If we do bad, we will get result of that bad karma. After doing something wrong, if we ask for forgiveness, our mind will be purified and it will become stronger to face the result of that bad karma. But bad karma will not go away. Whatever action is created, we have to go through karma phala. We have to go to its results. Right? What we can do is, by asking for forgiveness, by accepting our mistake, we can prepare ourselves for that karma phala. Even when we pray to God, what happens is, God gives us strength to go through our karma phala. He may not change our karma phala. That's why many times people ask these questions. Those who are great devotees of the Lord also suffered so much. Now this is wrong thing to say. Why? Because how do you know they suffered? They had physical problems, but how do you know they suffered? Why? Because in their mind, the suffering may not be there. Okay, body is going through problems, but the suffering may not be there because they have got that devotion for the Lord. They may not look at difficult situations as difficult situations. They may be looking at them as prasad of Lord only. So when we say that if he did so much of bhakti for that and then still he had to suffer, that is wrong understanding. Actually, because he had so much of devotion, even through all the difficult situations, he did not suffer. That is the right understanding. So by devoting our life to God, by praying to Him, what we get, we get the strength to face all the difficulties. That is what we get. Okay. Having said that, Ishwara is Swatantra, Kartum Akartum Anyathava Kartum Shaktaha. Okay. And Ishwara is Sarva Shakti also. He can change karma phala, but he may not change karma phala. That's what I am saying. I am not saying Ishwara is incapable of changing karma phala. I am saying he may not change. Sometimes he will just give you strength to go through karma phala. Why? Because he wants you also to grow. See, many times parents can change, but they let the child do the mistakes and learn. Why? Because that is the required process for the growth of that child. Some work is given by school, you know. Obviously the parents can do it much better, but no, they say you do it. Even if you do it with mistakes, that's fine. Why? Because it is part of your process. So Ishwara has the capacity to change karma phala, but may not change karma phala. Why? Because those karma phalas are required for Jiva to grow. Ishwara is like our mother. He allows us to grow, empowers us to face.
Yes.
Doesn't use his power to change, but empowers us to face. That is how Ishwara is.
Very powerful, Vedji. Let's conclude now and meet again at 4 p.m.
Right. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। हरि ओम।